If you feel like you're not living up to your potential, you're stuck in these loops that you know are not serving you, you know that you have greatness within you, and that if you just committed, if you just went all in and stopped wasting your life, you would be able to accomplish great things. If you want your potential to be realized and you want to be always choosing the thing that's going to grow you, it means that you have to take what is unfamiliar and make it familiar. These are the 7 things that have helped me and that have helped the people that I work with go through that process of taking something that's unfamiliar and making it the most natural, normal thing in the world. The first thing is stop waiting to feel 100% safe. Be 70% safe and then take the action. Just knowing that, yeah, a part of growth, a part of success, a part of becoming the person that I want to be means that I'm going to have to tolerate the feeling of being unsafe, and that's okay. I feel unsafe posting myself online. I feel unsafe going to the gym and not knowing what I'm doing and feeling like everybody's looking at me. I feel unsafe wearing a bold outfit or going to an event without asking other people what they're wearing. I feel unsafe speaking up when usually I hide and I'm quiet and I shrink myself. I feel unsafe setting a boundary. All of these things, if you are not comfortable doing them, you're not going to feel safe doing them, and you're not supposed to, obviously, because they are unfamiliar. So just remember, you don't have to feel 100% safe with every step you take. You only have to feel 70% safe. The second thing is to evaluate your secondary gains. Whatever it is that you continually choose that you don't want to choose anymore, you're getting something out of it. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's probably comfortability. I worked in eating disorders for 4 years. We will have conversations. Will there be a little bit of clarity? And they'll say, I know that if I continue to lose weight, my organs are going to fail, and yet I can't stop restricting, because they know when they restrict, that's giving them control over their life, and that control is what makes them feel safe. An eating disorder is often a response to an environment that feels chaotic, and you can know that all you want, but breaking out of that loop is incredibly difficult. It requires so many moments of courage where you're facing your fear, where you're doing these things that make you so uncomfortable, really understanding you're gaining something from choosing the life that you currently are at. If you go towards the life where you're living in your full potential, there will be a cost, and the cost is you feeling comfortable. Which brings me to the third point, is that when we want to change our lives, there's this desire to want to be at the finish line. I want to be that version of me that I have in my head. So I'm going to overhaul everything. I'm going to change everything. Tomorrow, I'm a new person. I'm not going to do any of the things that I did before. And that's just not how change happens. This is how change happens. Your life is the floor, and your best self is the ceiling. You can only live, I don't know how many days you can live at your best self, but it's not every day. So expecting yourself to say, oh, every day from now on, I'm gonna be my best self. I'm gonna act like my best self. That doesn't actually work. You can have these days, but what actually works, what actually transforms your life from the inside out, that gives you long-term sustainable results, is adding one little layer of dirt to the floor so that the floor raises, and that's your new standard. So for instance, let's just take working out as an example, because that's a really easy one because you can physically see it. If you're not working out at all, or you're working out inconsistently, and your best self automatically going to the gym, it's just a part of their life, they don't even think about it, there's no negotiation, it's just who they are. In order to have that new standard, you have to change your entire identity. You have to change all of your thoughts, all of your habits, all of your behaviors, all of your feelings, right? You have to change so much, which is why it feels impossibly so. It feels like you're not making progress because you're growing in 360. You can't just make one decision, right? It's a whole process, and it's the process of raising the floor 1 tiny millimeter at a time. And at first, it doesn't feel like anything is happening until you've gone a foot, and then you're like, oh wow, I actually have made progress. But sometimes, even when you've gone a foot, you're like, oh, I have like a whole building to go. I have so much work to do. It's tough to be in those positions. It's literally the only way. The only way that you can change your life is 1 millimeter at a time. I resisted this for so long, and I delayed my progress in every single aspect of my life. And now that I've realized, oh, this is just how it works. This is how it works. It's one tiny shift at a time. And that means every day I can be successful, because I'm like, oh, I play piano instead of scrolling for 10 minutes of my day. Did I not scroll at all? Did I not numb myself with scrolling? No, I did, but I did it a little bit less. And that's all that matters. And it's also like this. right? There's so many ups and downs on the way up, but you just want to be having a trajectory that's going up. The fourth thing is that you cannot think your way out of a problem that you have to act your way through. So getting yourself out of your head, out of planning, out of preparation, out of having to figure it out, being in your mind trying to figure it out is a distraction from the work you know you need to do. Stop thinking about what should I do at the gym, go to the gym. Stop thinking about what should I post, what should my name be, how should it look like, I'm gonna make a mood board. No. Post. Film yourself and post it. You will learn literally 100, 1,000 times faster by doing than thinking and planning, preparing. Thinking and planning and preparing is, again, trying to keep you safe from criticism from others, from criticism of yourself. You have to be willing to be a beginner and look like a beginner, to be seen small, to be seen trying, to be in this position where you're not good at it yet. And it sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. It isn't fun to be bad at something. But if where you wanna go and who you wanna be, if that is worth it to you, if you have a big enough vision, a vision that's actually pulling you, then just know that those little incremental micro shifts are the thing that are leading you there, and it will be worth it. So if you're finding yourself ruminating about something, go on a walk, go start cleaning, go take a shower, do some yoga, like literally get in your physical body and get out of your head. Your head will just spin you out of control over and over and over. The faster that you can get to action, the better. The next one is to stop idolizing future you. Honestly, most people that I work with, and myself included, I know the vision. I have vision for days. I don't need to make another vision board. I know exactly who I want to be. I've always known who I want to be. I know my potential. I know what I want. The problem isn't knowing what I want and like visualizing and seeing myself in the future. No, the problem is that, oh, where I am now isn't that. But why is where I am now so bad? The question that I ask myself often throughout the day is, what's so bad about today? What is so horrible about this present moment? Because honestly, future me loves being in the present moment. She loves her life. So how do I act as if? Not by visualizing that I'm not me, but by being me, but by actually bringing myself back to the present and know that I'm good enough now. Even if I'm not at my goals, even if I don't have my dream body or my dream apartment or my dream finances or 100,000 followers or whatever these things that I want in this life, it's okay. I know that I'm on the way. This is a part of the process. There are challenges involved. I'm up for the challenge. It's my joy to take responsibility. It's my joy to see my capacity grow. I am good as I am now. I want to be here. I always want to be here. Future me wants to be where she is, and current me wants to be where she is. I want to go through the process to become the version of me that I'm meant to become. I don't have to disassociate by visualizing my future self. No, I want to be here. I love here. I love the work that I want to do. I love the process. I'm down for it. And if you don't love the process, if you're like, okay, well, I hate now, constantly practicing, okay, how can I enjoy now? How can I water my plants and be with my plants? How can I clean my house and be with my house? How can I script this piece of content and be with it? Oh, I'm stuck. I don't know how to communicate this. It's okay. Just keep doing it. Keep putting it out there. Keep doing crude versions of the ultimate version that I want to become. Let it iterate, make something, create it, and don't be ashamed of where it is now. Everything is good as it is now. I always want now. Know that you're worthy now, and that ushering in, being in that vibration of acting as if of your future self means being okay with who you are now. My next tip is to feel your emotions fully. Emotion regulation is this like big conversation, and I'm all about emotion regulation, and I have a lot of tools and I've learned a lot about that. However, it's not about idolizing being calm. It's about fully feeling and expressing the breadth of human emotion, grief, anxiety, suffering, not suppressing it, not saying, oh, it's bad to feel pain. No, it's good to feel pain, and I feel it fully. I let it come up in my body and I process through it, and I'm pissed and I'm angry, and then it's over. It's an emotion and it's directive. It's showing me where to go. If I'm anxious about something, I don't have a disorder. There's something wrong with anxiety. Anxiety is showing me, it's activating me. It's telling me something about how I'm thinking about a situation, right? I'm seeing this is dangerous. I'm seeing this is overwhelming. My anxiety isn't bad. It's telling me something. So being able to regulate isn't about always staying calm. Being able to regulate is being able to feel your emotions and knowing that they're going to come back down. When you don't know how to regulate, that's when you get into trouble, because then you feel anxiety and then you stay there. But if you actually fully feel it without resisting it, it always comes down. It always leaves. And then the last thing is, you can literally be doing everything right. You can be taking those little steps. You could be raising the floor. You could understand your secondary gains. You could be in your body. You could not be idolizing the future. You could be feeling your emotions fully and you still don't have your results yet. And that's because the process of getting to where you want to go, it does take some amount of time. You do have to actually go through the process of getting it. It's just like working out, right? Like, you could be doing every single thing right, but just because you do it for one day or 2 weeks or a month or even 5 months or 6 months or a year, like, everybody has a different amount of time that it's going to take them to get to their goals. And we also have to account for things interrupting us and for not being perfect and not doing everything right and learning lessons along the way. So that's why just being present in the journey and being present in the process and not thinking that I will only be happy when I'm this future version of myself is so important. Just to enjoy every part of life, or at least tolerate it, because there are some really, really shitty parts of life that I wouldn't wish upon anyone, and they are often a reality of life. Like, I was just talking to my friend who has experienced so much grief. She lost her brother and her dad. An unfathomable amount of grief on top of other things, right? That's like not the only bad thing that's ever happened, right? There are things that happen in our lives that are truly tragic. And so accepting the process, accepting the amount of time that it's going to take, the right minute, right? Arriving at the right minute versus arriving at the right moment, they both exist, okay? So there's timing, like God's timing, the right moment, and there's also just, yes, we live in a world. Time is not an illusion. Like, we actually do live in time. We live on 2 different levels of time, okay? So going through the process, allowing it to take the time it takes, and surrendering your timeline. I want this to happen in 6 months. What if it takes 2 years? What if it takes 5 years? Is it still worth it? Is it still worth it to see your potential realized? And what can you find to anchor you to that vision so that it is worth it? If you feel like this video was directly speaking to you and you want a guide to guide you through that process of becoming, there is a link in the description where you can apply to work one-on-one with me. I cannot tell you how obsessed I am with coaching. Like, I literally, if we lived in a world where everybody was just like paid the same amount, I would want to do coaching. Like, I'm obsessed. I love seeing where someone's obstacle is, where someone's problem is, and helping them untangle, work through it, and become the version of themselves they're meant to be. Like, it is so fulfilling and beautiful to me. If you are somebody who wants to build more self-trust, build more confidence, stay anchored in the present while also being ambitious, going for what you want, that duality, I would love to meet you, have a conversation, and that's all I have to say for today. All right, see you later. Bye.